Everyone. My name is Henry Kofi, and I am excited to introduce my mother. She is a professional speaker and abundance alchemist. She is the founder of the Lotus Throne Sanctuary and the Lotus Throne Coaching and Healing Sanctuary. Her podcast is celebrating its 5-year anniversary next month, and it is called Healthy and Wealthy and Wise. Some fun facts about my mom. Her favorite musician, of course, is Prince. She has completed 2 Ironman triathlons and numerous marathons. She loves sales and has had massive success in 6-figure sales careers over the past 25 years. She has also experienced homelessness, bankruptcy, a huge amount of death, as well as divorce. But through all of that, my mom has risen from the ashes many times and has coached thousands of people to do the same. Today, conscious entrepreneurs hire her to double their income without selling their soul or having burnout, so they can live a healthy and wealthy and wisdom-filled life. What she is most proud of, though, is being me and my sister's mom. Please welcome Magdalena Grace.
Oh, thank you, Henry. So grateful for you. Thank you for tuning in and being here today. So I thought it'd be fun. My son is home for the summer, and he's already introducing me for speaking engagements, and I'm just super grateful for him. So I wanted to thank you for taking this investment of time and energy. We're going to dive right in. So proverbially, roll up your sleeves. We're going to go to work. This is a Cliff Notes version of my transformational workshop. And I am going to share my slides here in a second, but just to make sure you are ready for this, make sure you have a piece of paper and pen. Preferably taking notes pen to paper or pencil is the best way to re-enroll your unconscious mind in these teachings. And there also may be some really big things that come through and you want to write them down and revisit them later because you can only retain about 10% of what you hear at any given time. And then also to be able to stay away from electronics. Like I just turned off my phone. Make sure you're distraction free. Hopefully, you're not driving because you could be just one breakthrough away to transform your life. I call myself an abundance alchemist for a big reason. As you heard my son introducing me, I've been in sales and business. Health, wealth, and consciousness are my passion. And I've experienced a lot of success and a lot of failure. So everything I poured into this presentation today, and it's going to be roughly 75 minutes and then some Q&A. So hopefully you can also stay till the end. But really just want to acknowledge you again for showing up today. And I would like for those of you who are on the live, before I start and before I dive in, type in the chat, what is one thing you are hoping to get out of attending today? Type in the chat one thing you were hoping to get out of today, or what inspired you to sign up? Just so I know. If you don't mind typing that in the chat right now, I'd really appreciate that. I can kind of intuitively cater to you a little bit. And that's okay if you're not sure and you came just to experience some inspiration, that's okay too. But my hope is you came to alchemize something, to have a breakthrough, to have an aha moment. That's my personal goal for today. So I'll dive in. Here is my slides. So the title of this today is The 3 Sacred Secrets Conscious Entrepreneurs Use to Double Their Income Without Selling Their Soul or Burning Out. This is a sample of my transformational workshop. In fact, if you're in San Diego, you can attend it in person on this Saturday, the 28th, or Saturday, July 5th. They're both going to be transformational, not just another personal development class, not just another sales training. You're going to walk away transformed. So I can do that better in person, but I have people all over the world that want to tune into this message. And if you want to fly in to San Diego at any time and do this work with me in person, I'm going to cover some of the Cliff Notes version of my 5-hour immersive experience today. So this is what we're going to cover today. You're going to return to your core values and your mission and your why. in writing. So again, if you're just joining us, make sure you have a pen, paper, something to write on. Welcome, Tiffany. We're going to discuss how fortune is in the follow-up. We won't have time to write the plan. Again, you got to come to Saturday's workshop for that. But fortune is in the follow-up. I'm sure a lot of you have heard that in sales, and we're going to talk about the statistics and also what's happening in this changing, awakening world. We're going to learn and practice a magnetic alchemy, little tiny little bit, because I won't have time to do what I normally do. It takes 30 minutes. We're going to maybe roughly do about a 6-minute alchemical process, trusting that we don't run out of time, so that you can attract more abundance in your life. Type in the chat if you would like to attract more abundance in your life. Maybe that's one of the reasons you came, and maybe even define what does abundance mean to you. I just want to remind you, this is an interactive workshop, so hopefully I'll get some responses from you along the way. And then of course, we'll have Q&A and learn briefly about my 6-month abundance alchemy sales coaching program. Yay, Tiffany, thanks for calling in. And you got to declare it. You got to speak it. You got to write it. It doesn't just fall from the sky. And that's all part of the alchemy that I teach. So I'm asking you to have an open mind. An open mind will leave a chance for someone to drop a worthwhile thought in it. Great quote by Mark Twain. I will say this, because I'm a healer, I'm a teacher, I was a college professor for a while. An open mind leaves a chance for someone to drop a worthwhile thought in it. If I say something that doesn't resonate, remember, just let it go in one ear and out the other. You're a sovereign being, and I honor where you are at, but I do ask you to have not only an open mind, but an open heart today. And if you stay all the way till the end, I have a gift for you. There's actually 2 gifts. So how many of you here know Jim Rohn? I grew up with Jim Rohn in sales. That's dating me a little bit, but if you did the math, 25 years ago in 2000 is when I started my sales career in real estate. And Jim always said you have 2 choices. You can make a living, or you can design a life. He didn't say you can make a living and design a life. So I want you to just sit with that for a moment. Are you focused on making a living? Which I will tell you my story on how that didn't work for me. Or are you designing? You are the architect and the alchemist. You're going to hear me say that a lot today, of your life. And that's part of my passion, is to help you really, really understand that today. So who am I? Since the year 2000, I've worn many sales hats. You'll see me there on the right running a marathon. I've coached thousands of people to run marathons, 5Ks, triathlons, health, fitness, nutrition, boot camps, personal training studio, and nutritional supplements. I was also in the network marketing industry. I sold coffee and was a top sales producer with a company named Organo. And then on the left there, that's a picture of me as a medicine woman. I just actually put the pause button on being a full-time medicine woman just a few short months ago, because I saw a need, and the need was real, to help conscious entrepreneurs not only heal through their sales career, but make an impact and design a life through their sales career. And as you heard my son introduce me, he said I had a lot of success. However, there was a time when I was a very unconscious entrepreneur, operating from a place of, just like this woman. Type in the chat if you ever feel like this as an entrepreneur. She's like holding her head and screaming, because you see this picture, I'm just going to shout out, there's the technology, there's the commerce websites, there's the numbers, there's the research, there's what you need to do to keep your business coffers full of money, right? If you don't have any clients, you're not making any money. If you don't market and sell, you don't have any money, or you have more month at the end of money, you're not making enough money. And on top of that, I was a mom, homeschooling kids in the midst of a pandemic. And then, of course, even before that, I was a mom. I've been a mom since 2009. And I was also, honestly, struggling in my marriage. And through that journey, what happened, there was 2 big events that happened for me. How many of you here, had big goals and dreams in your 20s? If you want to type that in the chat, feel free. I had big goals and dreams in my 20s. I was making multiple six figures. I was in the real estate industry. And what happened was the Great Recession came along and took me out. I'm not blaming that. It was just the fact that I was over leveraged. All of my investments, all of my time, energy, and businesses were focused on the real estate industry. And then, same year, one of my best friends died by suicide. First time ever. And unfortunately, over the next 20 years, give or take, I would lose 13 friends total to suicide. My dad died, my brother died, my mom died. I had a lot of intense grief and unprocessed trauma, which I didn't know about until I found myself at rock bottom in 2020. Myself wanting to die, myself struggling, even though I was making 40K months, anywhere from $20,000 to $40,000 months. And yet I still look like this lady on the slides here. And what I realized is what I'm going to teach you today. Again, briefly giving you the Cliff Notes version. I learned a lot, and that's why I put these 3 steps together. Is I was operating from unconscious wounding, trauma, even at the ancestral level. And I was also just operating from a lot of unprocessed grief. I never believed I could take time to focus on my grief because that wasn't modeled to me by my not only family, but also by society. So type in the chat if you had goals and dreams that all of a sudden life threw a curveball at you. I would love to see if anybody else resonates with that story, since I didn't have this on meeting pose, so I could actually not have you worry about being seen on camera. Confidentiality is big to me, but feel free to type in the chat if you've ever had a life event that threw you off. So then I started studying the wisdom of trauma by Gabor Mate, huge fan of his. And I realized that I was operating from everything on this slide. So you might want to take a screenshot or really look at this deeply. I was operating from fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. I was definitely workaholic. I was definitely overthinking. I had anxiety, definitely a perfectionist. Everything, including landing pages and podcasts, I had to be perfect. The fighting part, really, I didn't show up until later after I started healing. The freeze, though, dissociation, numbing myself with alcohol, numbing myself with social media, numbing myself with dopamine, of all of that. Texting, smartphone addiction is the gateway to cocaine, they say, addiction. So I was really just numbing out a lot. And then, of course, the fawning. I had no boundaries. I didn't even have a booking link for clients. I let anybody and everybody text me. I said yes way more than I probably needed to. And I was overwhelmed. And again, not had any processing of grief. If you've ever read the book When the Body Keeps the Score, that was me. I was operating from holding on a lot of stuck, stagnant energy. And I didn't know anything about alchemy at that time. So what I did was I went into the plant medicine space. I went into the breathwork space. I went into the somatic release space. I got a shadow work certification and did a lot of research on Carl Jung and understanding how most of us have numbed ourselves and repressed our shadows. And if we don't work with them, guess what? They work against us, and what we resist persists. So it took me about 3 years to radically revolutionize my health, my wealth, and my relationships. And now I can honestly say, through all of the shadows, because there was a boatload, I'm not going to tell you all of them, but through this process, I was able to consciously uncouple with my partner. I was able to radically transform my career. I was able to fall in love with myself again, get back into music, and truly remember who I truly am and why I'm here on the planet. I reconnected with my purpose. And this is another quote, Mark Twain. The 2 most important days in your life are the day you are born and the day you find out why. So over the past couple years, I actually really connected with my why. I connected with my core values, and I got back into mental, physical, spiritual, and emotional alignment. And Ultimately, again, I go much deeper on this inside my workshops and with my clients and my programs. But just think about that for a moment. I just want you to think about for just a few seconds here if you feel like you have truly connected with your why and your core values. Do you operate from them? Do you set your goals from them? Or do you, instead of like Jim Rohn says, focusing on designing a life and operating from your why, do you focus more on making the money and trying to keep all of the plates spinning? Don't have to answer that question. Just ponder that for a moment. Ultimately, what I rediscovered was what I call sovereignty, operating from my truth, not my parents' truth, not my partner's truth, not my wounds, not societal, not the church, not the dogma, not even past life stuff and ancestral stuff, but my grounded, rooted truth. And I do that through abundance alchemy. I have my coaching company. And then, of course, I have the Lotus Throne Foundation, which is putting away scholarships for family who have lost loved ones to suicide or addiction related deaths. So just know if you refer someone to me or you sign up for one of my programs, you are saving lives. I just lost my 13th friend to suicide this month. It was devastating. He left behind two beautiful children and a beautiful wife that was his best friend. And it was honestly, I believe, because he was focused more on the making the living and not having the alchemy that he deserved in order to choose life. And that's also what I want to remind you today through this presentation is that your life is beautiful and abundant. We just want to help you remember that. So this is where just hoping you guys will contribute in the chat. What does it mean to you to be conscious? Type in the chat, what does it mean for you to be conscious? We're going to get to work here shortly, but I wanted to just kind of take a stab and find out what your perspective is. I focus on working with conscious entrepreneurs for all of the reasons that I've mentioned as far as where I've come from and where I've been. Because if you are operating from unconscious, then you can't live your best health, your best wealth, and your best relationships, at least until you make the unconscious conscious. So let me give you my definition. To me, whoops, sorry about that. There we go. Conscious, if I can get my slides, means connected to yourself and waking up to being your fully human and fully divine self. I really can't emphasize this enough that your soul journey matters. You waking up to your truth matters. Understanding that there is not necessarily any separation. This is the biggest lie that we've been living for thousands of years. I'm also a spiritual teacher as well as a sales coach, as well as a mystical yogi. And I've found this to be true. I believe that there was a separation between me and God, source, consciousness, whatever you want to call it. But when I remembered that's not true, that I am fully human and fully divine, boom, everything changed in my life. And ultimately, when you recognize that, you can come from your heart, shine your light, and your offers will make an impact. And guess what? When you make a great impact, you make a lot of money and you can become philanthropic. You can have a foundation like me or donate to someone else, and you don't have to be a workaholic. I've been there, done that, bought the t-shirt on that a few thousand times, but I'm happy to say I have a lot more time freedom now in my life and making more money than I probably could if I didn't have all the systems in place and all the things that I coach my clients and have way less stress because I reconnected with my divine birthright of abundance. So what does that mean? You are unique, and I believe we're going through a planetary awakening right now. Type in the chat if you agree with me or if you know what I'm talking about when I say we're going through a planetary awakening. There's a planetary shift happening. Eckhart Tolle, Oprah talked about it back in 2008. It's happening. Just don't forget that you are one of a kind. That if there wasn't any need for you and all your uniqueness, you wouldn't have been born on this planet in the first place. And we all are alive right now. I believe we chose to be alive right now to be midwives in this rebirthing of the planet. The sales and the world as we know it is changing. As one friend said, it's not the end of the world, it's just a world that is ending and it's shifting into the age of Aquarius. So every few thousand years or so, we move into a new sign. You don't have to be in astrology to understand this. And the effect that it's having on you is healers are becoming more powerful. People are uncovering psychic gifts and developing at a super fast rate. And people need to earn a living in a meaningful way. People are less willing to compromise in love. It's more difficult to conform. And you have to find a way to live that allows your uniqueness to shine. And I, again, have already said this. I'll say it once again. You have something unique to offer to the world. And a lot of times in sales, people forget that and they get kind of stuck. So, abundance is a personal definition, but I want to share with you a couple of things about my definition. And maybe again, write down your definition right now if you're able to. Remember, it wasn't about making money. A lot of people, when they hear abundance right away, they think of money. But remember, I was making six figures and still felt broke spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and financially. Money did not buy me happiness. And it sure as heck was not designing a life for me, not a good life. Then I read this book, The Abundance Book. That's a 40-day prosperity plan. You can Google it, just look for The Abundance Book on Amazon. It's like $7. I take my clients through these challenges if they're called to it. But in this book, it talks about we were all born with a soul that came into our hearts, into our bodies. And as we were born, I believe we chose families of origin, we chose our ancestral lineage, we chose where we live, our partners, whom we married. And from womb to tomb, we were bound to others. And as a result of that, we had karmic pain, suffering, death, divorce, all sorts of things that happened for us, by us. And if we don't alchemize that, that's why in our life we have health challenges that are chronic. That is why we have stress that's chronic. That is why we have financial issues that's chronic. That's why we have relationship issues that are chronic. So many of my clients have had, it wasn't just an overnight thing that just all of a sudden sprouted. It took time to get there. And so with my podcast, which is free, you can always subscribe to my YouTube channel and check out my podcast, Healthy and Wealthy and Wise. To me, abundance is living life and living it with your freedom intact, sovereignty of choice, and coming from your heart in those choices. Then you can manifest your best health, your best wealth, and your best relationship freedom. I do want to mention this quickly before we dive into the work. A lot of times spiritual people are afraid to make money, especially healer types. I was there. I did that. I thought, oh, the church taught me, money is kind of evil. And if I'm doing spiritual healing work, I probably should just be a pauper, right? Be a Mother Teresa. Spiritual, conscious, whichever word lands with you, they're to me kind of the same, a little bit different. But a lot of times it breeds a scarcity mentality, a fear based mentality. And here's the God's to honest truth, or the goddess's honest truth. If you operate from that unconscious wounding of scarcity and lack without transforming or alchemizing it, you won't receive the abundance that's deserved to you. This is all part of our journey as humans, which can be messy. Then there's the whole other sales side of it. And I don't know if you've ever seen this movie, Glengarry Glen Ross, but the sales industry has had a terrible rap. Not even a bad, just terrible. And it's sourced in patriarchal, masculine wounding from thousands of years. Is this idea of being sold to is gross. It feels icky, like you need to take a shower. And it can oftentimes feel like if you're following up with people or you're asking for the sale or attempting to even ask for the sale, that you're bad for it. And it couldn't be further from the truth. So today, if you have that mentality or thought, maybe you've had a steady job and it's scary to do sales, but sales is unlimited income and I've loved it even when I wasn't doing so well. It's just if you don't shift that perspective, you're also going to have a lot of challenges in your career. So today, we're going to turn lead into gold. we're going to turn what scientists just did for the first time in the month of May is strip away anything that doesn't serve you and focus on the abundance and the gold that lies within you. So I always like to tell people this. To me, sales is sexy and exciting. And why do I say that? Well, on this slide, this shows you when I was a baby, and I love this picture because I was already making sales calls when I was like 9 months old. But I was pretty fearless when I got into sales at a young age and was lucky to make six figures right away because I saw it as service. I grew up on a farm. I saw that you had to plant seeds in the spring, you had to take care of everything in the summer, and then you would get a harvest. And then there's also the time for winter. So, having that mindset as a farmer's daughter, I recognize that you got to work every day, regardless of what season of life you are in. Obviously, you take time off and do what you need to do to take care of yourself, process grief, all of that. But I've got to meet a lot of cool people like Tony Horton. I've got to travel the world. That's a picture of New Zealand, my favorite trip I've ever taken. And when you see sales as service, it can be sexy and exciting and fun, and you get to meet amazing people and go and travel and do you instead of being stuck behind a desk and a 9 to 5. And what most people struggle with is the process. Okay. I'm not going to get too much into the weeds of the process today. I know that's maybe a shocker. Again, that's why I said this is not an average sales webinar. This is a focus on how to alchemize any of your fears into love, scarcity, into abundance. But I do need to say the biggest reason most people struggle with sales is because they never took a course on it. I was fortunate. I hired a coach and had a mentor at 22 years of age already. And I just modeled what they did and told me to do. And it started with lead generation and it ends with lead generation. If you see on this mountain, you generate a lead, you set an appointment, you build trust and rapport, you identify the needs of the customer, you share the benefits of working with you, and then you do that elegant dance of asking for the sale and seeing if this is the right time and qualifying if they're even the right client for you. And regardless, ask for referrals and then follow up, which is on the other side of the mountain because usually it takes 6 to 7 no's to get a yes, and sometimes that can come from the same person. So, truly, if you haven't learned this process, of course, you're not going to be great at sales. You can't just post stuff on social media, you can't just go to networking events. It doesn't work that way. So, one quick alchemy for you is lead generation, is also known as prospecting, is a mindset we were born with. Making friends. Look at this picture. This picture says it all. These two kids were strangers at the beginning of the day, and now they're friends at the end of the day. They played dinosaurs together. I remember, if you remember when you were a kid, and maybe this could be triggering for some of you if you had a rough childhood and didn't maybe have good connections with friends, but you had to have at least one friend, maybe two. And you met them and you said, hey, do you want to play with me? Do you want to connect? And that's the same thing with lead generation. That's where it starts. Again, it's a process. It's not the only place. A lot of people have a lot of leads, but they have no sales. We don't want that either. So right now I want you to take an honest checkup from the neck up and rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 on where you're at with lead generation and prospecting. Go ahead and write that number down. I apologize. I just saw your comments in here. Forgive me. It wasn't showing up on my side, guys. Apologize. Beautiful. Okay. Awesome. So type in the chat now that I can see. Silly Zoom. This is why I prefer in-person events. So I hope you can come on Saturday. But anyway, you're a 3. Thank you. I see you. If anybody else wants to type in the chat with where you are at. Because the goal is to get you at least up to a 4, Zoe, is to increase that to the next level, 6. Okay, beautiful. And keep in mind, there's no right or wrong answer here. I would say that ultimately for you, it's just a matter of how can you get better? What are you going to do to get better? Can you hire a coach, someone like myself? Can you start a podcast, but then you have to follow up with those leads, all of that kind of stuff. So here's the good news, because I know everybody on this live call, at least, I know you have a beautiful heart. Okay. So your heart knows that's where the seat of the soul is. That's where your truth lies. And did you know that the heart is 5,000 times stronger than the brain magnetically and 100,000 times stronger electrically? So here's the tricky part. When I said Jim Rohn says, "Are you here to make a living or design a life?" Most people in sales focus on the money first. And we're not even going to set a financial goal today. If you focus on the financial goal primarily, you're going to lose your soul or sell your soul. Even if before you start generating leads, you could generate the completely wrong leads and maybe not the greatest customers if you aren't in alignment with your heart. That's where the law of attraction truly lies. It's not just saying a bunch of affirmations. We also have three brains. I'm not going to go deep into the weeds of this, but we have a gut brain. That's our sixth sense. That's our gut instinct, our gut feeling. That can also help us in our sales process about what to do, what not to do. And most of us are shut off from that. I help people alchemize their gut, connecting to their heart, connecting to their head. And when those are in alignment, that's when more abundance also comes in health, wealth, and relationships. So today, later, we're going to do a short alchemy session, a set on how to balance the hemispheres of your brain. If you've ever done EMDR, this isn't too unlike that, but it's different. My process is a bit more spiritual. So ultimately, the left side of the brain is the masculine. That's where most of us have been programmed, and the world, the planet, has been programmed to be in numbers, logic, ideas, facts, math, and training. And then the right side is the creativity, the intuition, the artistic, the more intuitive and imaginative side. So if those are balanced, guess what? I have good news for you. That's when more bliss, joy, peace, and abundance starts flowing to you. And what I discovered with my clients and myself after 25 years of sales, if you have too much feminine or masculine energy, there's an imbalance, then you're stuck and stagnant as well. So it's only a matter of time where your ship, otherwise known as your business, can sink or self-destruct, or you just feel stuck and you hit a ceiling and you don't seem to improve, or your health challenges, etc. So that's how important this is to alchemize the fear into love, the pain into purpose, the scarcity and lack into abundance. It's all about balancing your hemispheres and getting into your heart and attracting and magnetizing. So that's why we're not going to set a financial goal today. Okay. So here we are. That was a long warm up. And again, we got about 45 minutes more of work and then Q&A. Okay. So step number one, having a values and abundance attraction statement. That's the feminine hemisphere of the brain. That's tapping into the heart space. The right side of the brain is the feminine hemisphere. And then on the left side of the body, which is the feminine side of the body, is where the heart lies. So we want to connect with our heart right now. Okay. So again, with your pen to paper, in a few moments, I'm just going to give you some examples and then I'm going to give you a little time. I'll play some music maybe. But I want you to think about your top values that you really stand for. My dad said something very profound. He said, "You got to stand for something or you'll fall for anything." You guys probably have heard that. So once I got clear on my values, not my partner's, not my neighbor's, not keeping up with the Joneses, not keeping up with the other psychedelic people, not keeping up with the other coaches, all of the things, because that's what got me out of alignment. Abundance, alchemy, integrity, trust, humility, legacy wealth, balance, fun, compassion, and forgiveness. Those are my top values. I have more, but these are my top values. So what I'm going to ask you to do right now, and again, hopefully you're not driving, okay? I just want you to close your eyes for a moment. Put both feet firmly planted on the floor. And I'm going to stop my share just for a bit so you can see me a little bit better. I guess you don't need to see me if you're going to close your eyes, but you get the idea. So close your eyes. And I want you to take a nice deep inhale. Go ahead, inhale through the nose into the belly. And exhale. Take one more deep into the belly. This time also expand slowly into the belly and the chest. Count to 4 if you haven't started already. Holding at the top. And then just sigh it out and keeping your eyes closed, put your left hand on your heart for just a few moments and ask yourself, what do you value in life? Honor, trust, integrity, finances, people, connection, humility. Any of the things that I said, I'm going to give you just 3 minutes. I'm going to set a timer. And I want you to write down your top core values. And I'm actually not going to play any music. Timer started. Type in the chat if it would help me to share my slides again. If you'd like me to share my examples, I'm happy to do so. Otherwise, I'll just tell you when. The time is about 30 seconds left. What do you want to be known for? When you die and people are at your funeral, what do you want them to think about? When they think of you, your clients, what do they think about? When your prospects think of you, what do you want them to remember or think about? When you are done, type in the chat, and I would say write your top 3. If you go more, that's great. I meant to say that. Write your top 3. You're halfway. Beautiful. Thank you, Zoe. Yeah, Zoe already did what I was going to suggest. If you want to write your type the 3 that you wrote down, and just know that what you love about yourself is what others are going to love about you. So keep these close by. Our next exercise is going to take us through your abundance statement, as I call it. You can keep going, Zoe, if you want to write a few more. And I love that word. Freedom is the word of my year. Focus of my workshop on the 5th. Thirty more seconds. Again, type done in the chat if you're done, or if you want to write your top 3 in the chat. This is the exercise that I did to start to shift my paradigm 2 years ago. I have my clients meditate on them. I've worked with them with plant medicine, with breath work, with Kundalini yoga. Beautiful. Thank you. All right, for sake of time, we're going to keep going. So the next part of the process that's really important to me is what I call a unique abundance statement. So you can write that down on paper. Unique abundance statement, all in one line. Unique abundance statement. So what does this mean? So remember, I already said abundance comes, you were born with abundance. You had everything you need when you came out of your mom's womb, and you basically die with everything you need, right? You can't take it with you. So your soul's journey brought you on this path for a reason. And yet we sometimes wonder, stumble, fumble, fall, life hits us with divorce, death, distraction, whatever. and we lose sight of it. But guess what? You actually have it inside of you. Now, words create worlds. You've probably heard that before. And so they say to think is to create, but remember, I want you to come from your heart now. So this abundance statement is going to magnetize, remember, 5,000 times more powerful than your brain. So when you believe and own this statement that you're going to write, and we're just going to get started today for sake of time. We don't have a ton of time. You can do this as homework though, okay? And I also will offer you a free gift at the end that you may be able to take it ahead and improve upon it. But this is my abundance statement. If I, hadn't written this down a year ago, I don't know where I'd be today. So this is a short statement. Conscious entrepreneurs hire us for our sacred sales secrets to doubling their income while living a healthy and wealthy and abundant life through our Abundance Alchemist retreats, workshops, 4 to 12 month alchemy coaching, and collaboration through heart-centered community. So it's a short and sweet piece that does include some of my core values. So that's what I wanted to share with you as my example. And then this is how I created it. And I'm going to explain the why again in just a moment. But the more specific you are about who you serve and what you do and how, the universe is listening. Your heart is going to magnetize you those dream customers. And we want to get as specific as we can. Doesn't have to be super, super specific. But then this is also what you put in your mission statement, your marketing, your LinkedIn, so on and so forth. So this is what it looks like. I'm going to share this really super quick. If you want to take a screenshot, go for it. But conscious entrepreneurs and mompreneurs, remember I said that's who I focus on and that's who hire me. Then I talked about their pain points. This is the exercise. I didn't put all of this in what I wrote, but this is what I want you to do. So I'm leading by example. Pain points of who I work with. They feel overwhelmed, a bit ADHD, systems aren't solid, they're struggling with work-life balance, they're making okay money, but want to double their income, they need a virtual assistant. They might be having health challenges as well due to stress and overdoing and overcommitting. Insomnia, gut health issues are the most common. They're living locally, but also internationally. They're college educated. They're already making 40 to 80K, either in their entrepreneurship or maybe they have a couple of jobs and they really want to make double. And then I wrote down some things like they're positive, solution oriented, loves personal development, conscious, expanded, healthy, and works out. They love Prince, Whitesnake, travel, hiking, yoga, breathwork. So I really got specific, right? They hang out on LinkedIn and they go to consciousness events in person. So those are my target audiences that I look for. Here's another example. And then I'm going to have you do your written statement. And in fact, I'd really like you, while I'm explaining this, to write this part right here. You see, I don't know if you can see my arrow. So write out in this quotation mark statement, okay, we help blank or blank hire us. Either one, you can write it all down. We help blank or blank hire us to get surface level result via method or system so they can get a deeper result and never ever have to do what they hate. And then I'll explain the X amount of days or less, but just write that all down. And then I'm going to unpack. This is a real-time client example. So 40 to 6-year-old doctors and nurses and people who serve using their body hire me. This is one of my clients because their careers and daily use of their body cause pain and mental health issues that hinders their sleep, work, and ongoing daily activities. His name is Dan, uses a holistic massage program. He sells certain packages and certain programs, by the way, so that they can live a healthy, purposeful life and career filled with more joy, bliss, more active, and improved relationships with self and others. And this is done with a 3-session package over 6 to 8 weeks time frame. So taking a look at that, and I'm going to share the next slide. So don't worry, I got you. I want you to write down, I'm going to give you only 3 minutes. because I want to make sure we get everything accomplished in time today. I want to honor your time. Write down your niche, write down their age, their location, their pain points, problems that you can fill. Write down their demographics. I'm going to set a timer right now so I don't lose track of time. Anything else? The personality and the likes and the where they hang out, that's probably bonus. That's extra. And then type in the chat if you want me to go back to the last slide. I just wanted to make sure you wrote all of this down because this will be your homework. And type any questions if you have in the chat. And if you get done, you can even type in the chat that you're done. And this isn't like open networking like we do at our workshops in person, but if you want to type in the chat a little bit about your niche and who you're looking for and how you serve them, you can also do that here. I'm going to share the slides again. I just stopped it for a second. Oh, beautiful. Thank you, Tiffany and Marcel. I saw your beautiful responses. Thank you. All right, we're down to the last 30 seconds. I know this goes really fast. If you did it quickly enough and you want to write it all the way out, I'm going to share that last slide again. Here, the we help. So feel free to write that out. Hey, Fallon, welcome. We're just about to step 2. Unfortunately, we won't have any like live Q&A, but later I'll answer questions through the chat. And if you want to type in the chat now, before we move on, type in the chat what you got so far. And remember to plug and play. So we help blank or blank hire us too, so they can. And I don't recommend giving a guarantee unless you can really stand behind it. Like I have a guarantee with my 6 to 12 month coaching program because I want to see people win. I don't have a guarantee with anything less than that personally because what I do is very deep and takes time. So that's up to you. All right, so we'll keep going. I did want to share with you Dan, who was the massage therapist from Minnesota. He was going to attend live today to tell you in person, but he couldn't. So If you're in Minnesota, Dan is amazing. I'd highly encourage you send me an email. He's a phenomenal body worker, very intuitive. When he came to me, he was working for Massage Envy and hated it and had been doing it for 12 years. He was diagnosed with ADHD. He wanted to work for himself. So we started first with the alchemy of his ancestral blocks and limiting beliefs. We expanded his consciousness so he could break free from the job and went out on his own. The biggest thing we healed was his father wound, the masculine wound that was at the ancestral level. That alone helped him get off his ADHD medication. I'm not down on diagnoses. I just feel like anybody who's been diagnosed with anything should really question the system and the drugs that they're being fed. Whole nother topic for another day. So he got off his meds because he was able to focus because we cleared the trauma and the clutter. We did a lot of feminine and masculine strategies inside the sales coaching. And in just 3 months of sales coaching, he was able to create lead generation systems, break through more limiting beliefs, and he replaced his income at Massage Envy. And he was able to now continue to climb towards doubling his income. And this all happened in the span of about a total of not even a year. It was 9 months, which is why I recommend people work on this with me for 6 to 12 months. There's no quick fix or magic pill, right? And he started with his unique abundance statement. Okay. This is where this is critical. He meditated on it. He said it daily. He said it in the mirror. He wrote it down. And that was his foundation for keeping on when times got tough. And he went through a lot through that process, but kept going anyway and still created amazing results. So with that, I want to move on to step number 2. And we're going to just touch on this briefly, and then we'll go into step number 3. So if you've ever heard the phrase, fortune is in the follow-up, type in the chat if you've heard that phrase. Have you ever heard of fortune being in the follow-up? So how many of you would say you're really good at the follow-up part? How many of you would say that you're good at the follow-up part? Well, I'm going to talk about that because follow-up, this step number 2 is the masculine hemisphere of the brain. We just worked on the right, the feminine, now we're on the masculine. So part of follow-up, this is the truth. 48% of salespeople never follow up with a prospect. 25% of salespeople make a second contact and then stop. 12% of salespeople only make 3 contacts and stop. And you can read the rest of the slide. I'm not going to cover it. But the bottom one is the telling one. 80% of sales are made on the 5th to 12th contact. Did you know that? 80% of sales are made on the 5th to 12th contact. And here's the truth, guys and gals. It's not by texting or sending social media messages. Have you ever bought a program that was really deep and meaningful, or a package or something, by texting and social media messages? If you have, congratulations. But I guess that I'm almost guaranteeing you that that person is not a millionaire and they're probably stressed out and burned out. You've got to have a system in place for people to connect with you and your energy, whether it's webinars, videos, podcast, YouTube, workshops, connection calls, sales discovery calls. How are you staying visible and credible and doing those 5 to 12 contacts with that same person? The reason most people don't follow up is the fear of rejection. Let's face it. How many of you here, and I'm raising both of my hands, how many of you have a fear of rejection? And this isn't just about sales. This could be with your partner. This could be with your friends. It could be with anything. So most sales careers are stopped cold by a fear of rejection. The source of this fear is, a lot of them, the trauma responses that I shared earlier, but it's also just taking things way too personally. And it's not about you. When you have a fear of calling someone, it's your own stuff. When you have a fear of following up with someone, it's your own stuff. You're making it about you. So I helped so many clients, including myself, especially when it came to working in the psychedelic space. Oh my gosh. if you work and go out and invite rejection, and remember the stats, if you go out, you can overcome your fear in stages. First, you get it and it bothers you. You get it and it doesn't bother you. You get it and you turn it to your advantage. You get it and you have fun with it. So, a couple of examples really quickly. When you focus on turning it to your advantage, if someone says no, ask them if they know someone and ask for a referral. Get a no and say, hey, can I add you to my email newsletter? You can't add them to your email's newsletter or follow up or get a referral if you don't receive the rejection, not make it personal, and then just say, okay, no problem. No's are no big deal. Another game that I gamify it with, number 4 there, it says you get it and you have fun with it. That's where the magic and the fun and the play. In sales, you got to have fun. Remember earlier I said sales can be sexy and exciting? If you get out of your head and into your heart, into your inner child and play, that's what Dan did and got off his ADHD medications and quit his job and now works for himself and loves it. Ultimately, that's the key. So a way to gamify it is to have an open jar, and every time you get a no, you put a marble in the jar. And as you work with that jar, as it fills up, maybe you shoot for 100 marbles, 50, whatever, then you reward yourself. Go get a massage, go whatever, book a trip, celebrate the no's, celebrate the rejection. It's not about your child getting rejected from abandonment wound of a father or mother, although that's what's presenting and what's stopping you. I work with a lot of divorced people. I'm a divorced woman now, and I am making more money again and in divorce status because I did the work. I did the healing. I didn't downward spiral and become a bitter, unhappy woman, right? I learned from my mistakes and I grew and I evolved, and I can't wait to start dating again. So this applies to all relationships, by the way, not just sales. So think about relationships in your life that are challenged because you're afraid to call that person and say, I'm sorry. You're afraid to share your heart and your truth. That's where the abundance is. That's where the gold is. Transmuting and alchemizing fear into love. I was just on a client call today and I've helped her speak her truth to her family to set boundaries. And she was elated today. She had a family reunion. The family reunion went phenomenal because she was afraid to even go to the family reunion because she needed to have some clutter cleared away with some personal conversations. And she did it with my help. And now her business is starting to thrive. All areas of your life impact your sales, guys. So, really quickly, and you can screenshot this. We don't have time for this today. You can book an alchemy call one time. If you've already had an alchemy call, unfortunately, you can't have a second one for free, but you can have a paid one if you like, or attend my workshop this Saturday or on the 5th of July. We build this out inside of the workshop. So if you've ever seen the movie Shawshank Redemption, type in the chat if you love this movie like me. This is my second favorite movie of all time. I love Stephen King, and he is the reason this, it was first a book and now a movie. But Red, if you don't know the movie, this won't probably make sense to you, but Red is in prison with Andy. Andy's on the right, Red's on the left. Andy finds out that Red is the man who knows how to get things in prison from the outside world. Everything, cigarettes, stuff to build things with, posters, rocks, all sorts of things. He was very, very resourceful. And that's part of being in sales too. Are you resourceful? Do people trust you? Are you using your unique abundance statement to prove that you have integrity, compassion, freedom, and trust as part of your DNA? People will start to trust you because there are a lot of bad salespeople out there. And Red was trustworthy. Red got the job done. And so word spread because of his reputation. And if you have a good follow-up system of 8 touches over 8 weeks, or You can connect with people 8 times over 4 weeks. I wouldn't do it less than that. Then you might be pushy. Then you might be perceived as that guy or that gal that's annoying. I've had that, and I've unfortunately, yes, I've done that because you're just so excited, right? So if you do it right, I call people in the first 48 hours after meeting them at a networking event. I will email them also. I don't believe in overkill. I believe different people respond easily one over the other, whether it's a phone call if they're out in the field a lot or if they email because they're at their desk all day. Then you can have an item of value. You can offer up a sales call or a needs analysis. You can have an in-person or phone event like my workshop this Saturday. Full disclosure, that's an item of value for me because I love workshops. I love in-person events and networking and dinner and all of the beautiful things. You can offer up a free course, find a need. Maybe they need a hairdresser. Maybe they need a, something. Follow up, follow up. So taking a screenshot, how many of you this makes sense before we move on to the next thing? Type in the chat if you have an 8x8 already or if you're excited to build one. Because this is where the magic is. Again, remember 80% of the sales happen on the 5th to 12th contact. So I'm going to give a really brief, I'm not even going to share slides now because it's a lot to comprehend. In fact, you know what? I may actually share just one slide just to give you a visual. But let me tell you first. Okay, good, Zoe. Thanks, Tiffany. Beautiful. And again, at the end, I'll share with you how you can book a call with me if you would like a one-time free support call on how to take this stuff ahead. But the third step was about alchemy. Alchemy, again, is turning lead into gold, fear into love, pain into purpose, scarcity or lack into abundance. Okay, I just want to keep repeating that. You are the author of that. You are the alchemist. You are the architect of your fate. If you don't like what's happening out in the world, guess what? You are responsible, radically responsible for all of it. And so ultimately, when I alchemized a lot of my grief, I found there was gold and love and forgiveness on the other side. When I had a lot of fear about speaking my truth or shining my light in my business, it was because of past life and ancestral stuff and childhood trauma. Guess what? Once I alchemized it and transmuted it, started speaking my truth, I started being seen, being heard, and being paid what I was worth, even in the psychedelics industry, which is not easy for a lot of reasons, obviously, I'm not going to go into. When I was able to come from a place of abundance versus scarcity and lack, I was able to expand my consciousness and welcome so much more love, light, compassion, prosperity, health improvement. I lost 30 pounds. I mean, I can go on, and I've helped hundreds of clients over the past couple of years do the same. So we're going to do a short exercise, a short exercise. Then I'll take a couple quick questions and then I'll close just for sake of time. So type in the chat if you've ever done Kundalini yoga. Type in the chat if you've ever done Kundalini yoga or Kriya yoga. Well, we're not really going to be doing full-blown yoga, okay? But the idea behind this is to balance the right and the left side of your body, to heal the feminine and the masculine wounding that we inherited from our mom and dad, because they were our masculine and feminine archetypes. And if you grew up in religion, oh my gosh, or you had past lives as a witch, or you have a witch wound, or any of these things, we are oh so in the masculine. And our feminine is really dormant. And feminine, by the way, is really truly where the abundance gets received. And then the masculine is what protects the money, helps it be protected. And then it grows and it grows just like a baby in a womb. That's the idea that I'm trying to help really bring home to you, is if your hemispheres aren't balanced and you're not coming from your heart and sales, you're just making money, you're not going to be fully awoke. and living a fully abundant, healthy, and wealthy life. That might seem like a bold statement, but I lived it. And I see so many people every day with unconscious behaviors and not living their best health, their best wealth, or relationships. So, this exercise can help with your sales, balancing out your hemispheres. It can help with your health challenges. It can also help with your relationships, and it helps you go within. You're going to get in a very, 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 very brief, like meditative state. Again, can't be driving to do this. And I'll be doing this on the Saturday of the workshop, and I do this inside of my programs. And I did this particular one 40 days straight that helped me really purge a lot of grief and anger through my divorce. Okay. So I've used it and I've shared it, and it's actually proven to help with Alzheimer's. It's proven to help with focus, clarity. Dan benefited from that in his ADHD, insomnia. It's great for all of it. Okay. So I'm going to speak it and then we're going to do it. And don't worry, you could maybe watch the recording and do it again. Everybody will get the recording. It's actually in my YouTube channel by tomorrow. So we're going to do it the simplest version. There's a lot more duration. It's usually done for 12 minutes, and there's an opening and a close, but I'm not going to do any of that. So I'm going to lead you. So go ahead and make sure your feet are firmly planted on the ground. It's called the Kirtan Kriya. It's chanting and it's using your hands in a mudra. Okay, so look at my hands right now. You're going to put thumb to fingertip and sing the word sa, then thumb to middle finger, ta, thumb to ring finger, na, thumb to pinky, ma. You sa, ta, na, ma. I had to say that. Sa, ta, na, ma. Do it with me. Watch. Satanama, Satanama, Satanama. We're going to do 30 seconds of singing and then 30 seconds of whispering. Sa, ta, na, ma. Sa, ta, na, ma. Then you're going to do it silent for 1 minute. So you'll just breathe normally or breathe deeply through your nose. And continue in your head saying that mantra to yourself silently. Sata Nama. Then we're going to whisper again for 30 seconds. Then we're going to sing and close it out for 30 seconds. Here's the key. You want your palms facing up and they're going to be on your lap. So it's very similar to EMDR, but what we're going to do that's different, and this is yogi, Vedic, ancient wisdom that has helped with Christ consciousness and balancing all sorts of things and opening your chakras. And again, too much to go into today. But I'll lead you. And I want you to go ahead and close your eyes now. We're going to take 2 deep inhales and set an intention of improved health, wealth, or relationships. What is it that you want to let go of? And what is it that you want to call in? So go ahead, close your eyes. Getting ready to alchemize, dropping inward. Take a nice deep inhale. Inhale deeply into the belly and the chest, nice and slow. And exhale. One more time. Inhale. And exhale. Silently drop into your heart. If you want to speak it out loud, you can, or just think it. What is it that you want to let go of in your life right now? Is it fear, scarcity, lack? Maybe it's a health challenge. Maybe it's fear of rejection, a relationship issue, a toxic person in your life. What do you want to let go of? And what do you want to call in? What is the shadow that you're letting go of? That's what we just thought of. And what is the light that you're calling in? I'll give you a few seconds to ponder that. And now, with that intention in your heart, let us begin by singing Satanama. And as soon as I start, that's when you'll begin. Satanama, 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 Satanama. Now whisper sa ta na ma 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 sa ta na. Now silently continue sa ta na ma for 1 minute. Breathing normal and natural or deep, whatever feels right. And now whisper sa ta na ma 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 sa ta na. Now sing Satanama, 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 and hold. Just hold, just stop there. Let's go ahead and take a nice deep inhale. Inhale into the belly. Go ahead, inhale. And exhale. Take one more. Deepest inhale of the day. Go ahead. Deep, count to 5 as you inhale. And exhale. Just doing a body scan, noticing how you might feel different. For this moment, just to close this practice, focus on what you want. What was the light, the love, the peace, the health, the wealth, the abundance, prosperity? What is that? Focus on that for a few seconds. Calling it into your heart, calling it into your spirit. Giving yourself acknowledgement for the alchemy you just did. That was only 3 minutes. Notice if anything shifted for you, visualizing yourself having that health, wealth, prosperity, or abundance, whatever that was. Seeing yourself doubling your income or working a healthy, balanced life, designing a life for yourself versus only making a living. And before we open our eyes, inviting you to take one more deep inhale, deepest inhale of the day. And exhale. Opening your eyes. Type in the chat how you feel and if anything came through. I realized it was only 3 minutes and that wasn't like the full on thing. But notice maybe one or two words, type in the chat what came through for you. Awesome. Yay, Fallon. Yay. Good, Zoe. Awesome. So what you did, because obviously EMDR, that's why therapists do it, you're working on both sides of the brain and the body. But the magic, what we did was we honored what wasn't serving us, the shadow, the darkness, the pain, whatever it is, because we can't avoid that anymore. The planet will not allow for that. You've got to face it. And then we honored it. We said, thank you for your service. And then we brought in and called in the light. Wonderful. Yay, Tiffany, Marcel, thank you all for sharing what has happened for you. Any questions? I'll actually take a couple questions now about anything I shared before I share with you more about my workshops and my program. Any questions in the chat? This is your time. There's no questions because I want to honor your time. I do have that gift for you. Like I said, if you stay till the end. So part of my new mission, part of my new goal and dream is to really help more people like yourself to experience a better life, to experience moksha, as they call it, experience liberation. And this is my main thing, my priority, my life's purpose. This is why I'm here. And also to be able to make great money so I can give back to scholarship funds for people who die by suicide and sudden death to addiction and the families that are left behind. Because I've seen it 13 times now. I've lived it with my brother dying of alcoholism and many friends. I know what that's like and how that stopped me in my tracks. So combining my mystical yogi, medicine woman, and sales coaching is what abundance alchemy is for me. So here's some examples of how this has worked in the lives of my clients. So this is Janet, who was able to triple her sales within 2 months and then stopped having decades worth of migraines that she struggled from. She was able to shift. She's a beautiful grandmother, by the way, and spends a lot of time with her grandbabies and does all sorts of beautiful things and has found that ease and flow and health and wealth and wisdom. Adil took a part in my lead generation challenge and had a lot of challenges generating leads and following up, but he was able to generate 147 leads in 5 days and do it with compassion and grace and alignment. So he broke through his lead generation and follow-up fears, which has been paying him ever since. April, some of you might know, she attended my workshop in May and hit her first 10K month 2 weeks later. And she totally was so kind and gave me credit. She really got clear on her abundance statement and spoke more from her heart. And that I have a workshop this Saturday and on July 5th. So if you are local to San Diego, please do attend or feel free to fly in if you feel so called, and I'll have more. So my question is, would you like to become an abundance alchemist and create and manifest your best health, your best wealth, and your best relationships through your own wisdom? So it's been proven that at minimum, it takes 4 months to become a new habit and to create lasting change. So that's why I offer up 6 to 12-month options. And just so you know, I'm not going to offer up pricing. I'm not going to give you a hard sales pitch because I don't do that anymore. But I also know it would be wrong of me not to share an opportunity for you, an opportunity that I wish I would have had myself, quite honestly. An opportunity to be in community with other like-minded, conscious go-givers like yourself. So my 6-month immersion kicks off in July. You can be anywhere in the world. Doesn't have to be that you live here, although I'll tell you there is an in-person event that would be part of it. July and August, we're going to start kicking off the second half of 2025, maybe even stronger than you started the first half. We'll have a group sales and marketing planning breakthrough session, mapping out your money, your leads, your offers, and the launching of your systems in those first 2 months. We're going to ground you into your central nervous system, balance those feminine and masculine hemispheres, and structure your time accordingly. We're going to do a conscious wealth mindset recalibration and set goals for your daily income producing activities, your lead generation, and your follow-up plan. We want it to line up with your core values. I'm also going to give you a Vedic business reading and emotional detox blueprint. I did that in Holy Toledo. My teacher is going to do that for you so that you can be true to yourself and understand based on the day and the time you were born how you can be authentically, unashamedly, unabashedly you. Then we're going to move into month 3, where we're going to really continue to tweak your soul aligned lead generation plan and start to master your 8x8. Because of my health passion, you're going to be a part of my 88-day Vibrant Challenge. That's over a $3,000 value by itself. If you want to lose weight, get off medications, improve your sleep, balance your feminine masculine, this is going to be really a part of that. There's Kundalini yoga, all of that kind of stuff. Again, this is all virtual. Then we're going to continue to build upon your energetic calendar and make sure you're not overdoing, underdoing. You're going to be balanced again in the feminine and the masculine. And if you need one and if you qualify for this, I'll also help start a done for you website included in the program. Month 4, I think this is not September, it's actually going to be October. But anyway, we're going to clear some money trauma and creative blocks that showed up in the first few months. Just really continue to work on limiting beliefs, sabotaging behaviors, business. We'll work on the branding. If you get the done for you website, we're going to really just continue to refine and tweak that and do edits every month to make sure that it's in alignment with your light. And I'm also going to invite you to networking events or teach you how to do that online so that you can turn networking events and Zooms into money, not just waste your time. How many of us have done that, right? A lot of people go to networking events and online events and they just don't get any customers or transactions out of it. And I can teach you how to do that. Then the last part, through the end of the year, we're going to continue to make sure your daily habits and rituals, including meditation, are seamless and running like clockwork. We're really going to also have a conversation about how to hire a virtual assistant and work with one so you can elevate, and that can only help happen when you delegate. So you can't do all of the things, especially if you want to make 10 grand a month, even 5 grand a month. You have to have a virtual assistant, and I've always had one. Ever since I was 22, I've had a virtual assistant or an in-person team. We'll have a breakthrough retreat October 17th through the 19th here in San Diego. So this is the for sure in-person stuff. This is where you would need to fly in and partake and work on your ancestral trauma, self-sabotaging behaviors, ultimate health and wealth and consciousness planning, and get you ready for 2026 and finish the year strong. On the retreat, we're going to help you really connect with your purpose. Mark Twain's quote, "Why are you here? What is your dharma?" Allow you to live your purpose and be seen for who you are. Heal shame around visibility and fear of being too much or not enough. I've been both. Restore your inner authority and the courage to shine your light. We're going to work on sacred prosperity around money, which is called Artha in the Vedic tradition. Reframe money as a spiritual ally, not something to feel guilty about. Heal your wounds around scarcity, self-worth, and receiving support. Helps you create material stability that nourishes your dharma, so you're making money in alignment with your purpose, and help you map out your money for 2026 and beyond. We're also going to talk about pleasure and sensuality, reclaiming pleasure as holy and the body as a sacred instrument of joy. That's also connected to money, by the way. Money and sex are very sacred and very connected. Heal your guilt around desire and your sexuality and your beauty, and awaken the inner Shakti with creative, magnetic coming of aliveness. And ultimately, moksha. We want you to be feeling liberated and whole. You already are. Remember, you're whole, perfect, and complete. You just came into complicated families and life karma. And we want to help you release yourself from shame, attachment, false identity, separation, unworthiness, and bring you home to your divinity, helping you feel fully alive and ready to go out and shine your light into the world. So you get 8 one-on-one sessions with me. You get group deep dive, sales and marketing plan. I already talked about that. Some of this is redundant. But really quickly, we also will have monthly group calls for networking and speed networking practices, getting you to practice your unique abundance statement in real time. That's why you don't have to be local to me. We'll also have 4 deep healing integration credits. So each person gets to choose how they want to do the healing with me. It could be deep dive medicine work. It could be ancestral regression work. It could be combo. It could be, if you're a woman, yoni steaming, sacred rage, chakra clearing specific to the womb healing. Ayurvedic nutrition, Kundalini yoga, personalized path. It's a mix and match. I didn't want to have a one size fits all because your soul is unique, your healing is unique, your trauma is unique. And then, of course, some of the other bells and whistles is just really helping you personalize your sales templates and lead generation and follow-up systems. All of the time management, everybody's different in that. WhatsApp style coaching Monday through Friday. And then, of course, access to the retreat. So if you have a desire to learn more about this program, again, I'm not selling you on this. I'm just sharing information. Um, you can, if you do sign up today for a free alchemy session, so I know Allie, you have one tomorrow, so you would qualify for this. I know, I believe at least one of you already has had an alchemy session on here, so you would qualify if you send me an email and you're like, yes, I wanna talk about this offer, Magdalena. So don't worry if you've already had the alchemy session. You can, send me an email before 10 p.m. PST today and say, hey, I want to talk about that offer specifically. And if you need a website and you want it, it's done for you and it has a $5,000 value. So really quickly, you can screenshot this and then I'll tell you your gift for staying all the way till the end. And then I can let you go. Unless there's any questions, I'm happy to stay a little longer, but I want to honor your time. So this is my QR code. You can also go to magdalenagrace.com and my alchemy session booking link is there, unless again, you've already used it or you're using it tomorrow. Just know that the program starts in July. I am having an open enrollment, so you can start as late as August. I'm wanting to work with people because this is once in a lifetime. The next time I offer this in 2026, it's going to be double the price. And right now it's 50 cents on the dollar of its value. Again, I'm not going to tell you the price, but it is a beta. It's my first time birthing this into the world. And so I'm wanting to reward the first early adopters. I already have people signed up and space is limited. So once it fills up, I'm not going to have an sized group. Any questions? Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you. Any questions before I tell you what your gift is? It's 5:30 on the dot here in San Diego. So if there's no questions, you can always email me. I believe you all have my email address. You can always watch the replay. Um, the gift I'm willing to give you, you've got to email me. Email me before 10 o'clock tonight and say, I want the slides, Magdalena. That's my gift to you. So you can have all of my slides. Just be patient with me. It may take me a couple days, maybe actually until Monday, because I have a workshop this Saturday in San Diego. So I'm going to be focused on that. But if you email me by 10 o'clock tonight, Pacific time, you can have the slides. Thank you, Tiffany. Thank you, Zoe. If you have a moment and you want to share your biggest takeaway before you go, type in the chat, what was your number one takeaway? And in the meantime, I'll close with a quote that has oftentimes, I started with, and I just love it so much. So I'm being a little redundant. Remember, Jim Rohn said it best. You have two choices. You can make a living or you can design a life. You can't do both. Yay. Awesome, Zoe. I love to hear that. Thank you. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day and appreciate you making the time and the investment.